Defender family, this is a Swad Walker Associate Editor. We are here with the one and only Wynton Marsalis. How you doing, sir?
All right, that's why it's a pleasure to be here talking with you.
Go ahead. So you just came off of performing and teaching at the High School for Performing and Visual Arts. Let me just say, I was just literally blown away by your teaching style. Can you talk about how you developed that?
Well, my father was a teacher for his entire life, and just years of teaching kids in all different environments, like with really young elementary school kids and then high school kids. When you get a room with different age kids, and I just kind of combine it with a kind of Southern preaching style, get them to repeat key words, and I always try to teach concepts and be very substantive in the concepts that I'm teaching. And with this particular class, it was four of us teaching it. So me and Victor Goins and Alexa Tarantino and Chris Crenshaw. So the kids get a chance to hear different voices. And then we punctuate it with the music. So whenever we give examples, we show them what the music is. We juxtapose the two ideas of the freedom that comes with improvisation and the importance of having that freedom, individual rights. But equally important is the responsibility to others that's represented by swinging, and playing with a group has the combination in jazz, the combination of you make up stuff, you're free, but you have the responsibility to swing and find other people's time and to create space for others and to nurture that space. So it's all fundamental human things that we teach.
And that's what that's what I thought was genius, because I'm sitting there listening and I felt like I was in a civics class, a history class, a socio-political commentary class, and it was all brought together by the music. And while you were teaching, it made me appreciate the music more.
Right. Well, I mean, I appreciate your assessment of it. That's what we try to do. Try to bring a lot of information in bed, because all of that is a part of the music. That's the significance of music as an art form. It is the art of the invisible. And all things like thoughts, feelings, aspirations, hopes, dreams, disappointments, all are in the province of music. But it's also a chronicle of your history, the great musicians who've played, and it's a look into the future, because the type of collective creativity that's in jazz means that you can never do the same thing twice. Mm-hmm. It's like a good conversation. And it's important for us to use our education system to teach our kids values that will reinforce the best and richest parts of what it takes to be citizens in a democracy. And that the most important thing is to develop acuity and the ability to discern between things that seem to be the same, so that you're not acting against your best interest.
Your message sounded like a message to the country regarding the state we are in politically. Can you speak to how jazz can minister to our country?
Well, first, it requires you to listen to other people that are not you. So, and then it has key concepts. Like there's a form that revolves around and around, and to successfully improvise on that form, you have to know what the harmonies are and what the harmonic progression is. And this is a time that we need to understand our Constitution. So we just have to put in some extra hours of study and understanding what's available. We tend to think about our Constitution only in terms of our rights, but we also have responsibilities. And above all, with jazz is a belief in the collective ability to do something that is coherent. Mm-hmm. And once you lose a belief that you can come together with people and give a little bit and get a little bit and share space, and that you all can come up with something that will be better than what existed without you working together. When you give up on that, you can't really be a jazz musician, because that's what our music is really about.
You described Count Basie and his orchestra. I can't remember the term you used. Can you share that?
The greatest communal organization ever come rise up out of a city. I mean, they were playing music that came right up out of the people. They came out of the Kansas City during the Pendergast era, very corrupt political era, but was great for musicians. And their system of playing, they play really softly as a large group playing at that volume, the key to that group was a guitarist named Freddie Green, played rhythm guitar. You could almost never hear him. And it's their way of playing with riffs and breaks and call and responses and shout choruses and individual soloists. I was mentored by a member of that orchestra, the great Sweets Edison. And just to hear him talk about that band, he was in the Basie band in the mid to late 1930s, well, 36, 37, 38. And there was an instruction. I really loved him. That was my man.
You just mentioned being mentored, and I was thinking as I was watching and listening that you have some really young folk in your orchestra. And so can you speak to how important mentoring others is to you?
Well, that's how we stay civilized. I mean, it doesn't have to be formal. We just pass down a collective wisdom so that our younger people have what they will invent, and what they will invent will be informed by what we know, and we can continue to prepare them for the challenges of life.
Yeah.
And that's how we've made the advances we've made in all areas. Well, we accept it in science because it's obvious one thing led to another thing. You know, the Webb telescope is going to take you right back to Copernicus and Galileo. But we don't accept that it's important in matters of soul. We don't. We think we're going to turn it over to a computer at some point and everything is going to be okay. And that's not how it's going to work.
Yeah. And then finally, why Houston? Of all the places you and your orchestra could have gone, why did you all come to Houston on this day?
Well, Jazz Houston, the organization we support, Vincent Gardner is a co-founder of the organization and its artistic director. And the objectives of the organization are aligned with ours, and we love Vince. That's that's like our extended family. And we're here to play and do concerts and teach youngsters and be a part of the type of change that he and Belinda are trying to create here in Houston, and that type of change is needed.
One last question. I thought that was going to be my last one. I'm just real curious. What music do you listen to when you're not listening to jazz?
Well, I mainly listen to stuff that has development section. You know, I'm not really a big nostalgia listener. Like, I don't listen to something because I want to remember what I was like in high school. I'm not against people listening like that, but it's just not my way. I tend to listen to more folk music or things that's challenging for me to hear. And it could be anything from Horatio Salgán, the great tango musician, to Moacir Santos, fantastic Brazilian composer, to Shostakovich, who was a great silent champion of human freedom, having to deal with Stalin and his government. Of course, all kinds of jazz, to Ellington, Art Tatum, Thelonious Monk, the list goes on and on. So, a lot of like that flamenco music. Sometimes I just put stuff on, scroll through different people's music. I went to a period where I was only listening to African music and dance music, and looking at the really traditional dance and see how they put the 6 and the 4 rhythm together. Some unbelievable. I saw a grass dance yesterday, man. It was unbelievable. It looked like I forget what the name was, Azuli or something like that. It was unbelievable.
Was that here in Houston?
No, I just go online and I just check it out.
Oh, okay.
Man,
All right, sir. Well, as I've already said, it's an honor meeting you. Appreciate it. And best of luck with all the great things you're doing moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking to you.
Yes, sir.